Oh, welcome, YouTube community. Welcome to another Nerdy Collective show. Got a nice couple of good surprises for you. And now that I got you guys, here you go. Big shout out to the chat. I want to say thank you for everybody being here. Let's get everybody called off really quick. And by the way, just found out something. Stations. Does that sound familiar, guys? Sounds familiar to me as well. I think I'm going to use it from now on. So yeah, I like it. So we got TM Nerdy in the house. We have Zen Multiverse. Buddy, thank you. I'm going to watch that horror game that you played earlier. I definitely want to see that. That looked like fun. We have Sam's Tangled Web. Thank you, buddy. Jen Love. Thank you for being here. Love it, love it, love it. And where are we? I'm going to just say, buddy, Stations. How you doing? I can never say your name correctly. Chris Large, buddy, thank you for being here. Another Australian buddy in the house. Big shout out to you. So thank you everybody for being here. And without further ado, I'm going to get my co-host in here. Bam. And here we go. Bam.
It's Mr. White Glove / Page Comics. What I want you to do right now is turn the lights down low, lean back in your easy chair, and get ready for the Nerdy Collective experience.
I love you, buddy. You're awesome. How you doing, buddy?
I'm doing wonderful.
Awesome. I'm going to say to the chat really quick, Jeff will not be here tonight. He is sick. So please, prayers to Jeff. Come on back to his brother. And I'm waiting for another co-host to show up. He'll probably be a little late, but it's okay. Great week. What'd you do? Anything? Get anything new?
I worked, and yes, I'm an old-time rock and roller, and
awesome.
My most awesome band in the world put out an album, so y'all got to go get it.
Sweet.
Power up, buddy.
Love
Power
it.
Up. I'm an album collector too.
You know what, Monty? Miss G, my honey, she just got the pop, the AC/DC pop, the ones that come in little clamshell. It's got the actual album on the back side of the pop. AC/DC Black and Black. That. Yeah, those are really cool. You had to check them out. They got rock and roll ones that are coming out. Queen and a couple other ones are really good.
And then
which one is this?
I found this right here. I've been looking for this. This is the Jay Giles band. If you like a lot of blues and harmonica and everything, yeah, this has got a great song, an Orange Driver. I remember having this in the 8-track when it came out. And I've been looking for this album for a long time. One of the best Jay Giles albums out there, man.
It feels pretty exciting. Us old timers, LPs are making a way comeback, dude.
Oh, yeah.
Notice that? I love it. I love it. My other co-host, I wish that would show up tonight. He loves music. He was dig that what you just showed.
Well, I also this music store had some comic books.
Sweet.
And this one was thrown in for free. It needs a little pressing so I can, work on it. 1958 Donald Duck.
Nice.
So I'm going to do some work on that with the pressing. And all these were $1 each. And I thought, man, 30-cent books for $1 each, the conditioner in. Marvel Tales.
Ooh, like that.
Marvel Tales 87.
Like that as well. Very nice.
Marvel Tales 80. Yeah, that Thunder.
Yeah, that was a nice blast.
Oh, it scared me a while ago. Number 84.
Sweet.
Marvel Tales 93. Then these were in the 50-cent bin. I got Kirby Genesis.
Oh, that's a good one, buddy. I like that one.
Kirby
Actually, I like that.
Genesis.
Nice.
I guess number 4.
Those are cool.
Number 6. Man, number 5.
I like the sound of that.
Oh, yeah. And I got 3 more books. This one was a $1 book, Spider-Man 247.
Nice.
I mean, any Spider-Man you can get for $1, the older ones. Marvel Super Action number 7.
Oh, there's a good one.
And then the Marvel Team Up number 143. I've already got this book, but I just love the cover.
Nice. Star Fox. That's a good one too. Heck yeah.
So that's some of the pickups, and I haven't had pickups in quite a while. So,
Okay, I'll show my quick pickups really quick.
Okay.
Animation. Nice to see you, love.
Hello, Sandy.
Love it. Nice to see you, love. All right. So a big shout out. This is a big shout out to Captain and Smiley Tory. I got my pre-orders in and some books that I ordered on an auction, and this was a little surprise. They sent me an AOK. This is awesome. Wow, the lightning's really striking. It is signed. I'm not much for signed comic books, but it's by Carlton Worley, Dracula. But big shout out. Thank you so much, Captain. Thank you so much, Shorty. Smiley, you're awesome. New books, another shout out. This one is to Marvelous Comics. I just got this book. I love Perillo's work, and just picked up this book, and it's all of his art and excellent. So thank you very much, John Hoffman. And new reading pile. Got some Basculus, getting caught up. Shadecraft. And then the one that's been frustrating me to no end. So I read this first one and I did a small review on it. And I don't know if I like it yet, but I give books 3 chances. And after 3 chances, then if I don't like it, I don't buy anymore. Got issue 2. So I'll be able to continue it. And issue 3. And then I'll give you a real honest opinion about that book, because that book is all over the place. So let's not have our guest wait anymore. And then he has to. And let's go on with the show here. Here we go. Bam. Block this out. So yeah, that's what I got this week.
That's cool.
Yeah.
That is awesome.
What is it?
I hope this daggum thunder scared me half to death. That was just right out the window.
Okay. So here we go. 1, 2, 3. Bam.
And the lightning struck at the exact same time.
Awesome, Robbie. Thanks for being here.
The universe is with us tonight, gentlemen.
Yes, it is.
Because the thunder rolls and the lightning strikes. Another love grows cold on a stormly. Or wait, what is it? Whatever. You get the point. What's up, everybody? Station.
Power up, baby. Power up.
Yes. Awesome.
Happy to be here, y'all.
Awesome. Thank you, Robbie, for being here. I appreciate it. And welcome to the Nerdy Collective. Awesome. It was wonderful having you. What's going on What have you been doing?
Who, me?
Yes, you.
Let's see. Lately,
You do a lot. You do a lot.
Yeah, I've been reading comics. I've been watching movies, and I've been talking about them here on YouTube. Today, just got done earlier doing Dylan's Horror Show. I'm the co-host of that. Oh, I love this atmosphere.
Yeah, I do too.
We talked about Creepshow, one of my favorite movies. George A. Romero, Stephen King, Tom Savini. It's a fantastic movie, and yeah, I mean, just chilling. Work today. There was a big Digimon tournament, but all I did was price comics. It's funny. I priced some Marvel fanfares today, so that was cool. So to see your Marvel fanfares there, those are some really good ones. There's an issue. Somebody might need to help me. I think it's 18 or something. Maybe it's 30 something. I don't remember, but it's a Frank Miller Captain America cover. It's a fantastic issue. Really good stuff.
Interesting.
Yeah, I think I know that cover.
I think you know when he's talking about as well.
I can't remember the number. I'm picturing the cover in my mind right now.
For some reason, 18 pops up in my head, but I don't know if that was it.
What row is it? Here we go. Boom. We're going to put quick jumps out here. There we go. We have Chris Large that says Thor has arrived. Love it. Yo, thanks, guys. All right. So let's start off with some questions until hopefully the other co-hosts will show up. Robbie, you run a comic book store, work at a comic book store. What do you do?
Yeah, I am the store manager of the Deep Comics and Games in Huntsville, Alabama. We've been in business for 26 and a half years. I've been there for a little over 11 years at this point, and I love my job. I wake up in the morning I go sell comics, and I get to work with what I love, and then I get to come home and start my part-time job of being a YouTuber and a podcaster, where I get to talk about comics and meet so many people in the community. And it's such a pleasure and privilege, I think, to do what you love, right? Yeah.
Exactly.
So, yeah.
Nice. Exactly. Monty, you got any questions for Robbie?
Working in a comic shop, let me ask you this. What is the biggest pain in the butt of your job that you just wish you didn't have to do?
The biggest pain in the butt would probably be dealing with assholes, I would say. That's just something that you deal with in retail. I've been a retail manager for most of my professional career, whether it was I've worked mostly in like movie stores and comic shops and things like that. Right. And, there's just certain people that don't make it an excitable job. I don't like dealing with, complaining from employees. I don't like dealing. Let's see what else. I don't like cleaning the bathroom. But luckily, I did my time cleaning the bathroom. But just the simple stuff. But for the most part, I still love it. Dealing with speculators can be a little weird sometimes, but I've just turned it into a game. Have fun with them. I have found that I have this knack to and like you. No matter what your business is, you will always have customers that get on your nerves or annoying, right? And I have found the ability to like turn it into a game where like they think I'm just like joking around with them, but I'm like probably being serious. But I don't know. I'm probably saying too much because it's late. No, but that would be it. Probably the worst is just the worst type of customers that are out there sometimes. But they're very in the comic book industry. They're not that prevalent, but they're still there. If that makes sense. I'm starting on a negative tonight, aren't I? Wow. Get going.
Well, that was kind of.
I should have been like paper cuts.
I figured you was going to say put books in alphabetical order or number order.
No, I love that shit.
Oh man, you need to come to my house. Then.
I can organize all day. $75 an hour plus lunch.
Don't come to my house, then.
Nice. And chat, if you have any questions for Robbie, please post them in the chat. Excuse me.
No, but I love the organization, bagging and boarding. I love that stuff. I'd rather do that than deal with an irate customer any day. But
I love bagging and boarding. I mean, I can sit there and bag and board for half a day.
It's zen to me. It's zen.
Yeah.
I just zone out. I'm just like, I could do this all day and just be happy.
What does your comic shop go any do any convention visits and stuff like that?
Yeah, only local ones. We have one that we do, the Huntsville Comic and Pop Culture Expo. That's been going on for 6 years. We've been there every year, and PCP's actually been there for those 6 years too. So we do a Pop Culture Philosophers booth there, and sometimes we do a panel, and I get to do like panels with people. I've done panels with Chris Claremont, Mike Grell, Fabian Icieza, Jim Shooter, and a bunch of Power Rangers as well, because I'm a little bit of a Power Rangers nerd too. But yeah. So we do a little bit, but we don't like travel. It's we got a good operation where we're at, so we don't really go out and travel too much, because usually those shows don't do exactly what we want, because we need those bodies in the shop, because on the weekends we get pretty busy. So
tell us where your shop at. You said Huntsville. I mean, there's a lot of Huntsville.
We're Huntsville, Alabama, and we're comic shop mostly, but we do card games, we do board games, Warhammer, and all that kind of stuff. So it's a place. We have this giant. We're 2 stories, so we have this big game room upstairs, and so we'll have people up there gaming, and we sell all the gaming stuff. We got vintage toys, and we got new toys, and we have a whole card department that does like Magic and Pokemon and Yu-Gi-Oh and Digimon and whatnot. And I'm just into the comics for the most part. But we just keep the store running, man. We got great customers. As all the weird stretching that I was doing in that first doesn't really like make it obvious how fantastic our customer base is. So it's just I don't mind the bagging and board and all that stuff. I guess I don't like dealing so much when someone comes up and starts talking to me about Pokemon, and I'm just like, what are you talking about, kid? I have no idea. What's a Pokemon? You mean a pocket monster? Isn't that a video game? Is that on the Game Boy?
I hear that.
I'm just kidding though, but I'm the store manager now, so I'm actually not really on the floor dealing with people that much anymore.
Okay.
Well, I want to know your origin story.
That's what I want to know too. I was just going to ask that. You just took the words right out of my mouth. Nice.
Everybody has an origin story.
Go ahead.
I want to know yours.
Let us hear it.
All right. Well, first of all, it's the story of a 15-year-old boy and a 16-year-old girl who got drunk and had some fun one night, and then thus Rockin' Robbie was born. But as far as getting into the industry and comic books and everything, a very early age. The first stuff I ever read was comic books. I've been reading them since I was about 5 or 6 years old. 86 is when I really started, and I was watching the cartoons building up to that. I was collecting the toys. Well, not collecting, but I had toys because I was a kid, right? So I was into all the typical stuff like Transformers, Masters of the Universe, G.I. Joe, but Superpowers figures and Secret Wars figures were like some of my favorite things. And it's because I used to watch the Superpowers Galactic Guardians cartoon like all the time. Mm-hmm. So from a very young age, I knew who Darkseid was, and I knew what Apocalypse was, right? Sweet. And then I was watching that Spider-Man show from the 80s, not the Amazing Fantasy, not the Amazing Friends one, but the one that was just called Spider-Man. Yep. And I was obsessed with that one. I caught all the reruns of anything that I could. I was obsessed with this stuff. And then one day, so my stepdad, he married my mother when I was 4. He was a part of the Navy, and he would go, all over the world, right? And when he would come into a station or something, right? He would buy comics because he liked reading comics. It was something to help pass the time, and he would ship them to me. So I was getting these packages monthly of X-Men comics from the 80s when John Romita was doing it, like around the 200, 199s or whatever, right? So I was getting those, and I was getting Spider-Man, and I was getting Superman, and it was John Byrne stuff, and I was getting Fantastic Four, and I fell in love with this stuff, and that's how I learned to read. I was trying to basically teach myself how to read. When I wouldn't know a word, I would ask my mom, and she would look it up in the dictionary with me and things like that. And so I've been into comics pretty much as far back as I can remember, and into the characters, the mythology of the superheroes. And then that led into other things in my life, but that's been one thread that's always been constant, is my love of superhero mythology and the format, the medium of comic books. Like, this particular way to tell a story to me is astounding, because I don't think anything else has quite the participation of the audience like a comic book has at times, because you really you are also a part of the control of the speed in which you read a comic book. A movie can only go so far. A book can only tell you so much, but a comic book, you take part in how fast or how in depth you want to read it. And I've just always been fascinated about telling story through words and pictures, just still like that.
Sorry, I got to say this, Robbie, but you're like a comic book encyclopedia to me. Because every time I've watched your shows, the knowledge that you know, working in a comic book store, working with the books, knowing, I feel like I could ask you a question about something, about a character, and you would know who it is or what it's about.
Yeah, or be able to bullshit well enough to get
Of course. I love it.
Okay, I won't take no more questions for you, Robert.
No, you go ahead. Go ahead, Monty. Right. You're doing great.
All right, I want to ask you that since being in the comic shop all these years, do you find it like being a kid in a candy store when you see these books come in? I mean, how do you refrain from just wanting everything? Because I know if I worked in a comic shop, I just want all the Marvel that come in. I mean, it drives me crazy.
Well, I've gone through enough purges in my life. So I have gone through those phases where I used to work at a different comic shop when I was like 18, 19, 20. And I went through phases where I like gathered up everything. And, you know, as you find out, just because you buy a book doesn't mean you buy the time to read it, nor does it mean you buy the space to store it. And every so often I've purged my collection. So I have learned that amassing a collection, ultimately, it's almost a burden to try to get rid of some things, to like make sure that you just have a collection of bangers. So I frequently purge, but at the same time, I mean, being at the comic shop is pretty dope because I get to read these books without having to buy them. Right. So I think like that's a big benefit too. My biggest problem is when vintage toys come in and they only come in every so often. Right. And I'm like, oh, and I have quite an addiction when it comes to that. I'll tell you that. So I haven't figured that one out yet.
Yeah, my addiction is the Marvel Selects, the action figures. This is just a small piece. I mean, I got hundreds of them put up in boxes.
Well, I bet they've done a lot of them, some really good ones too.
Yeah, I think I've got every single one of them so far that's come out.
My favorite of all time that they've done it's a very early one, but it's the Punisher with the victim that's on the pinball machine. I freaking love that one.
Oh yeah. I hope that water running outside ain't bothering people.
I like the atmosphere. It's like I'm in a
bathtub with a
shower. The stations, yo. Love it. So where are we here? What is your favorite superhero or favorite villain?
Favorite villain is Dr. Doom.
Awesome.
For sure. Dr. Doom is by far my favorite victim. I probably relate to Victor more than any other character in comics. I think he's just supremely awesome. I always like to kind of root for the villain. The villains are always my favorites, like Dr. Doom, Lex Luthor, Apocalypse, Galactus, Darkseid. Those are some of my absolute favorites. For my favorite superhero, it's a 4-way tie between Mr. Fantastic, Invisible Woman, Human Torch, and The Thing. So I'll just say the Fantastic Four. I grew up reading that one. That's the one book I've never stopped collecting. I will always buy Fantastic Four, even if it's a painful experience to read. each and every single month. I will stick with that book. That's my one. And on DC, the book that I will stick with no matter what is Aquaman. I love Aquaman, and that's a love from when I was a kid, and I had this figure right here.
Nice.
I used to play with it in the bathtub, and yeah.
Sweet.
So,
did you like the new Aquaman movie?
it's all right. It's okay. It's a bit like, yeah, bro.
Yeah.
It's like you don't have to try too hard to make Aquaman cool. He's already cool.
He is cool.
And you can go that long hair, edgy kind of route, because that's when I really fell in love with the character in the comic books. It was when Peter David was doing it. He had the harpoon hand and shit, right? So it can be done, but they molded that character to fit Jason Momoa more than they molded Jason Momoa to fit the character.
Sure.
But he had an incredibly comic book accurate costume in that movie at the end,
he did.
right?
Yes,
I never thought we would see that costume on screen and look good.
I know. I
and
said
it
the
did.
same thing.
Yeah. And Jason Momoa, hot. I have an image of him topless, a magnet on my refrigerator. And Amber Heard in that movie, hot. Okay. And even Willem Dafoe in that movie, hot. Okay. That's a sexy movie. Let's just say it.
My Queen G loves Jason Momoa ever since we watched that movie. Yeah, I call him the man's man. That's how I see. That's how I see Jason Momoa.
Like, can we just hang out? Maybe go bowling.
Just hang out and have a Guinness. He likes Guinness, my favorite beer. So it's like perfect. Okay.
And nobody wants everybody wants a Jason Momoa for their wingman.
Yeah.
As far as stuff coming in the comic shops, what are some of the stuff that you've been amazed at that's walked through the door for y'all to buy?
Oh, well, recently we had Amazing Fantasy 15 come through. That was pretty freaking awesome.
Did y'all buy it?
Oh yeah, we bought it, and then we know there are a few people in our town. Huntsville is. It's like, first of all, Huntsville's a weird city because we're in Alabama, right? And everybody thinks certain things when they think of Alabama, and y'all mostly right, okay? So Huntsville is like this old school kind of Alabama town, and at the same time, it's got a lot of. We have NASA's the Marshall Space Flight Centers here, and we have the Redstone Arsenal. So there's a lot of engineers and scientists that move into this area. So we have a lot of transplants. So it's a weird mix of old school and just all over the place. It's kind of like a melting pot, right?
Sure.
And where the hell was I going with this? What was the question?
The Amazing Fantasy 15.
Yeah. So we have this like a list of people that when we get something like that, they're the ones like we call them. Like we it's basically a want list, right? And there's certain people that we know, like we ain't joking. If we get an Amazing 15, or if we get a giant size X-Men, or if we get like a Spider-Man 129, or if we get a Hulk 181, if we get an X-Men one, if we get a Fantastic Four #1, well, I'm going to be paying that for like the next 10 years out of my paycheck, right? But we got people that we got a lot of people in here that will come in immediately and be like, yeah, here you go. And so those things don't stick around, so we don't you go to other shops or other dealers when you go to like a con, and they'll have all that stuff out there, but not trying to throw shade on a lot of stuff, but I think a lot of people overprice their books, and we always price to sell, right? And that's what we're always trying to do. We don't want to keep a book, right? We want to get rid of it. We want to sell it. We want to sell it quick and make that money. And so nothing usually sticks around, but the most amazing thing I've seen has probably been just the fact that Amazing Fantasy 15, the most amazing thing that's ever come in, I'll be showing a little bit later because I wound up with that. So that was pretty cool. Yeah.
Nice. Cool.
But today I priced a copy of Sleepwalker #1, and I was amazed that it's a $10 book right now for some reason. So
wow, really?
You never
Sleepwalker
know.
#1 is?
Sure. Yeah,
wow.
I looked it up. I was like, why? I guess there's some people really holding on to the idea that they're going to do like a Disney Plus Sleepwalker show or something.
Interesting.
Do you ever get Golden Age books running there?
Yeah.
Run through there?
We do. The Golden Age stuff doesn't sell very well for us. Golden Age can be worth money just because of what it is, but it's not necessarily key. We've had like all the keys that we've had for the most part. I would like, we just recently, I don't know, is the first Peacemaker Golden Age? I don't remember the Charlton comics. I don't know if that's golden or silver.
I have no idea on that.
Wait a minute.
That's something we just got in that was really expensive that we didn't realize, but it's because that he's featured in the Suicide Squad movie.
Suicide Squad movie. That's why. Yeah.
So that's pretty cool. And we've gotten like first Blue Beetle, like the original ones, and we've had like early Shazam stuff, like the early Captain Marvel stuff. And we've had Detective Comics like 41 come into the shop, and we've had a lot, and they're cool covers and they eventually sell, but they're not the ones people want. People just want those Silver Age Marvel keys for the most part.
Any timely stuff come through there?
Any what?
Timely.
Yeah, we've had some issues of Marvel Comics, like Marvel Mystery Comics or whatever it was, like the early stuff with the Carl Burgess Human Torch and the Bill Everett Namor. So we've had some of those come in, and we've even had some Captain America, but it's not common occurrence, I would say.
Yeah. Well, you put me on your list if any of those come in.
Yeah. Okay, I'll let you know. Yeah. And for the most part now, what people are bringing in, and it's been like this, I mean, forever, and you understand why, but most of what comes in is 80s and 90s, right? Yeah, because that's when it, like, people were collecting and they were holding on to it. And I feel really bad because for the most part in my career there, people come in with those books and you're like, these aren't worth anything. Like, unless you got a first Gambit, first Venom, or first Deadpool, we're not really interested. The game has changed a little bit. So sometimes someone will come in and will be like, oh, you don't really have much good stuff. We're looking through it. We're like, we got tons of this in our warehouse. And then all of a sudden I'm like, oh, here's some Batman Adventures. Maybe we got some Harley Quinn, and you'll find the most random books that are popping right now. So it's really hard to keep up with, to be honest with you.
Yeah.
And all the Star Wars books, like Dark Horse Star Wars stuff used to just be like
nothing,
dollar fodder. And now like I have no idea, because I'm way more of a Star Trek guy than I am a Star Wars. I have no idea like who Darth Revan is or what the hell his first appearance is. You know what I'm saying? So like there's so many random first appearances now in some of those 90 books. It's hard to keep up with. But that's why we have staff that do.
Yep.
So
Yep. Wow. So all right. Talk about a buddy of mine. I also like what you did for Travis on his little intro. You'd come in like a news segment. How did you and Travis get hooked up? How did you meet Travis? This is Comics with Bueller for everybody who doesn't know who I'm talking about.
Yeah, we met on the Jim Mint Collectibles channel. Okay. When I started doing the YouTube stuff, I tried looking up YouTube comic book channels to see what was out there. And I either found people just like complaining and moaning about comic books in the industry, or I found, and this was years and years ago, or I found like the big dogs like Comic Storian or Comics Explained or Comic Pop or whatever, right? And I was like, nobody's like, I don't see anybody just doing like just like the comic book, the kind of talk that we would do at the comic book shop or whatever. Right. I didn't realize that there was this big community that was brewing while I was trying to work on building Pop Culture Philosophers, because at first we weren't even trying to focus on comics, right? That was just a byproduct of me wanting to be able to do a weekly show, like a show I could do every single week. And then that became the weekly comic book review, which I've been doing for almost 5 years now, nonstop. Mm-hmm. And, but before that, we were just doing the movie stuff, and then I got a message on Instagram from Jim Mint Collectibles, and I had seen him before, doing the omnibus reviews or whatnot. And he invited me to come on one day to do just a spoiler talk amongst other YouTubers talking about the week's books. And Bueller was there. And on that show, first of all, Bueller showed out like crazy, because Jim Mint gave everybody a little time to do a promo. And so most people are like, oh yeah, check me out at this channel. I talk about this, this, and this. Right. Bueller went on this, he had it all prepared. It was all written down, right? And he goes on this 5-minute pitch on his channel on Jim Mint Collectibles. He's like, I'm not going to waste this opportunity. And before we went on, he took time to be like, hey, I just want to say something. Robbie, I'm a huge fan of your channel. I think you're awesome. It's a pleasure to meet you, and blah, blah, blah. And then on that stream, me and him have a very similar sense of humor.
Yep.
And we like me and my homies, the excitable PCP crew, like we fuck with each other like all the time. Like that's what we do. Everything's a bit, everything's a joke, everything's a prank. And Bueller was able to like dig in and take being dug into. And I just knew that was a cool connection. So we did that for a few weeks on Jim Mint's channel. And that's how we met Jim as well. And now I do a weekly show on Jim Mint Collectibles where we reveal our top 10 books of the week.
Sure. I've seen it.
Jim's a super cool homie of mine now. And a great channel.
I love his, when he does his statues.
Oh yeah.
I've been watching him ever since he does the statues collections. Amazing. Does such a good job.
Oh yeah. Right. And he's such an inspiration to me because he is a businessman. You know what I'm saying? Like he's got it. He's always trying to figure it out even more, you know?
Yep.
But that's where I met Bueller and like instantaneously I was just like, I like this guy. And then we just, and the Jim Mint show kind of went away. And then me and him kept in touch. I had him on the channel and he brought me over to his channel and we kept in touch. And then now we started doing this show that we do every month where we get together and it moves from channel to channel, but we talk about the best comics of the month. It's basically the same thing that Jim wanted to do weekly, but then we just couldn't commit to it weekly. And I was like, let's do it monthly and move it around, so that nobody is ever, it's not like a commitment where you have to do it at all times. Right. Like this last week we did it and we had Nick from Comic Culture and Jennifer from Comics Will Break Your Heart on there for the first time.
Love Jennifer. Jennifer is awesome.
Oh yeah. She's got great, amazing taste in comics too.
Yes, she does.
So, but like and then he wanted me to be a part of the Coffee and Comics show. So he wanted to focus on my pick of the week because he really likes the weekly comic book review and he watches it and he really likes my pick of the week. And now they do the pick thing, which is really funny because people think I'm like sabotaging my pick of the week to mess him up, but I'm not. Like I just really like Gru meets Tarzan. That was freaking awesome.
I love it. Yeah,
but Bueller's one of my favorites. I love that dude, and he just had a birthday yesterday. So
yes, he
happy
did.
Birthday, Bueller.
Yes, happy birthday, Bueller. Yeah, I wish him a happy birthday. Awesome. John, Comics with Kids is in the house. How you doing, buddy? Nice. Sweet.
Well, my next question is going to be, I want to.
Oh, we lost him.
That's a good bit. I like that. That's worse. That's even better than just. That's
we
even
lost
better than
him.
that. Just gone.
I hope he didn't have a power outage.
Maybe he did. That storm sounded something fierce, bro.
It did.
I've had Garth Brooks in my head all night because of that shit.
So what we were talking about earlier, let's talk about. Okay, do you have the one ultimate Grail book in your collection that you absolutely could never live without, that you love the most? One, just one.
Yeah. I got it right here.
Oh,
I got it right here, young man.
Yes, sir.
Let me find it. There it is. This is the one. This is the one.
I can't wait to see this. Nice.
Fantastic Four number 5. First appearance of Dr. Doom.
Uh-huh.
Yeah, Dr. Doom, one of my absolute favorites. And this is one of my favorite comic books of all time, too, because it's actually a really cool story. It's like they have to go back in time for Dr. Doom, right, and find Blackbeard's treasure chest. And they go there and they get into disguises. And he's got Sue held captive. So Reed, Johnny, and Ben go back in time. They dress up like pirates. Ben's wearing this fake beard so that he can blend in because he's a big orange rock guy, right? And they wind up taking over the ship, and Ben wants to stay there. And it turns out that Ben is the basis of the legend of Blackbeard. And then they eventually convince, they kind of trick him into going back. And these days, in these early days, Ben has still got much of a chip on his shoulder, as he should, because he's been deformed because his best friend helped, convince him to shoot him off into space. But this is the introduction to Dr. Doom. It's an amazing story. It's really fun. It's Jack Kirby. It's Stan Lee. It's Golden. It's Fantastic Four, and it's my favorite character of all time, and it's his first appearance. So that's it right there. That's my Grail. That's such a cool book, isn't it? You're muted. I can't hear you.
There. Why does it keep doing that? I just constantly. I mute it because I vape just like you do. So, real quick shout out to Dusty Brick Brown. He's in the house. Got a little brick drop for him. Here you go, buddy. Yo, go check those guys out on Saturdays, every other Saturday. Great guys. Anyway, where were we at? What was Monty just saying before he got cut off?
He said, my next question for you is,
and then boop,
and then he was gone.
Damn.
He was gone.
So we started talking before the show. We were talking about underground comics. Do you want to talk about that?
Yeah, let's do it.
Tell us what you like about underground comics.
First
we were
of all,
talking about, just so everybody knows in the chat, if you guys have a question, please put it in the chat and we'll put it up for Robbie. And me and Robbie we're talking about kind of got onto some older ones, and I don't know if anybody out there, a little disturbing, but it is underground as far as I'm concerned, was this book. And this is the second one that came out, Red Room. And we were talking about this and talking about the underground industry. Tell us a little bit about it and tell us what you know more about the underground industry. How about that?
What I like about it is, first of all, comic books are an amazing way to tell a story. And for the most part, throughout most of my life, what we've gotten is superhero things dictated by some kind of corporate office, right?
Yep.
And Marvel and DC have had their moments of creative genius, but when people have a stake in the creation, when they have ownership, you're going to get better work, right?
Yep.
And that's what I like about the indie scene. And the indie scene started as these underground subversive comics. We were talking about the Crumb stuff.
Crumb stuff. Yep.
You know,
Actually,
you were talking about Faust. There's what is it? Fritz the Cat. Was that a comic or was no? That's a movie, right?
No,
Is that
a movie?
That's a movie.
I think it's a movie. Yep.
Okay, but like the stuff like that, right? Like that led the way into what eventually became things like Mirage Studios with Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles. That, you know, that's an independent comic book that had a very limited run that became a global phenomenon.
Yep.
Like that's crazy, right?
Mm-hmm.
And that led into the creation of Dark Horse. And that's really when I started getting into what in the 90s would be kind of considered the indie underground scene, right? So it was Dark Horse was producing work from Mike Allred and John Byrne and Mike Mignola.
Bunch of artists in that.
Yes, Sergio Aragonés, Paul Chadwick.
Was like Dark Horse Comics Presents, that whole first line when it first started.
Oh, yeah.
They had all those artists on there. They'd have like four to three
Miller
stories. Yep, Frank Miller was in that.
And they started the Maverick line, you know, and like that stuff was key. And then you start getting into things like Brian Michael Bendis when he was doing Jinx and Goldfish and Torso. And then you go into Oni Press, and believe it or not, Kevin Smith was an indie comic book creator. You know what I'm saying? And his Clerks series was absolutely amazing. His 2 issues of Clerks that he did a third, The Lost Scene, It's Okay, with Phil Hester. But the one with Jim Mahfood, those are fantastic, right? And that got me into Adventures of Barry Ween, Boy Genius. That got me into Queen and Country. So it was that kind of stuff that's when I got into this. That whole underground indie scene. And now I love the prevalence that it's taken in the industry now.
Right.
Like right now, there's so many people that are maybe dissatisfied with what they're getting from Marvel or what they're getting from DC, but everybody's talking about Something Is Killing the Children. Yeah. Everybody's talking about books like that. Shadecraft, you know, the stuff that Image is doing, and even Image with their goofy, 90s superhero stuff, that was a big thing. And this is the most important thing about that whole movement is power to the creators, not to a corporation. Sure. Yeah, I'm not going to get too teen dog shadesy tonight or nothing, but like,
it's okay.
I'm all down for the power to the creator, the person who's putting in that work. And And I liked for them to get that. The big story is, of course, The Walking Dead, what Robert Kirkman was able to build with that. And he kind of saved Image and built up into this thing. So, I mean, that's what it is. And that's where you're going to get. And now we're hitting this moment because of Walking Dead, where everybody's like, I could make the next Walking Dead. I can make the next thing to get picked up for a TV show or something that moves to another thing. Now, comic books that are created specifically to do that typically don't work for me. Right. But then when you have something like Umbrella Academy, when they made that book, Gabrielle Ba and Gerard Way, no concept that they would ever get a Netflix show that would be hugely popular, right? That book is made for the love of comics. Oh yeah. And some of those stories will translate, but there's got to be a translation. The Umbrella Academy show, way different than the book, but still the same root of everything. It still stays true. So that's what I like. Power to the creator. And when they have when they have the control, that's where you're going to get the most output, the best work from those people. Right?
Yep. Robbie, I know you had a lot of amazing creators and artists on your channel. My question is, what 5 creator artists would you love to have a conversation with?
Alive or dead? Let's see. I'll go with the ones that are living, because those could happen. Grant Morrison.
Nice.
Todd McFarlane. Let's see. Now I got to think. Jonathan Hickman. Ugh. Alan Moore. Ooh, okay. Right.
I like that.
And Mark Evanier.
Mark Evanier. Okay.
He worked very closely with Jack Kirby, and I'd like to hear a lot of stories that he had to say, because I can't pick Jack Kirby right now, right? So
yeah. Of course. Nice.
That's what I'd go with.
All right. What else were we here? So what is your, okay, you see, you've done movie reviews, you do movie reviews.
Mm-hmm.
What's your favorite movie genre in movies when you're watching movies? Because that's basically, I look at movies as, okay, when we read our comic books, just like you said earlier, and I agree with that. When you read a book and you get self-absorbed into it, it sucks you in. Like an example, like I was telling you earlier, that whole You Promised Me Darkness.
Yeah.
The book was so convoluted and the art wasn't the greatest, but it sucked me in. It sucked me in because I want to read more. I want to know what this person, this writer, this creator is trying to tell me as a reader. And I did get issue 2 through 3 to give it a chance. I always give books like comics like 3 chances. And if they don't satisfy me, then I move on.
Yeah.
That's a lot with the indies. But in movies, I look at movies as a big canvas. Like one of my favorite directors is Ridley Scott. I like most of what Ridley Scott has done, especially in the science fiction department and stuff like that. And who's the other director that did The Shining and 2001 Space Odyssey? Kubrick. He's my other favorite. Love his work. And the movies are another art form, kind of like a painter puts it on the screen, shows a visual, like our Marvel characters and stuff like that. What is your favorite genre? You know where I'm getting at.
It's horror. Yeah. Like 100% horror movies.
Horror too.
I eat that shit up, man.
Yeah.
I love it. Like whether it's cerebral, sophisticated art house horror, or if it's just gnarly, doofy, dumb, exploitative horror, I love it. I love all of it.
See, like my favorite writer, although he's really out there, but what I've been really appreciating over the last few years is a little bit of acknowledgement for H.P. Lovecraft, which is in our background. I'm a big H.P. Lovecraft fan, but a lot of people don't get it because he's so deep when he talks about his stories. And yeah, he was out there, but his science fiction horror was awesome. Excellent. And I'm a really big fan of that. I mean, look, I'm
a big Lovecraft fan.
Did you see Color of Space? I'm not much.
I have it, but I haven't watched it yet.
Okay. Nicolas Cage, as always, in all of his roles, whenever he gets mad, he always shows the same face when he gets frustrated. So that's the same typical Nicolas Cage. But the movie, it was good for what it was. And it was part of the story, which I really enjoyed. The other one was the HBO series called Lovecraft Country. Did you check that out?
Oh, yeah. I love that show.
I wish they would continue. Why aren't they continuing it? It was so good. So good.
I don't know why they're not continuing it, but at the same time, at least it got to tell a story.
Yes, it
right?
did.
It adapted the book and it did its job. And so at least it's not something left dangling.
Exactly.
Right. And it's kind of in the, there are elements of that are in the spirit of Lovecraft. And I really like Lovecraft's work because what he was able to do was really, he was such a fearful individual. Right. He was so scared of so many things. And that comes across in his writing. It's this fear of the unknown. And when you really start thinking too deep about the cosmos, you realize that we're nothing. Right. And that's really scary, that existential dread. My favorite adaptations of his work into film are by Stuart Gordon, which would be like Reanimator and From Beyond and Dagon. Like those movies
so
blow
cheesy,
me away.
So bad, but so good.
Yeah, I agree. Yeah,
Excellent.
100%.
Excellent. Loved him too. Favorite horror movie? Do you have one?
It's Suspiria. 1977 Italian film from Dario Argento is my favorite horror film.
That sounds familiar.
Yeah, it's about this. It's from Dario Argento. It's about this dance school in Germany that's actually run by a coven of witches. But it's atmospheric. It's dreamlike. It's amazing. It's just such a beautiful film. It's got music by Goblin. That's some of the best horror movie music ever. It's fantastic. Suspiria. They recently remade it. I don't really like that one, but the original is solid.
Cool. Everybody's on the stations. I love it. Okay, let's see here. Either the power has gone out everywhere or people are overslept. They must have overslept. Where are we here? What else was there? Here, let's try one of these. Let's go with, what are you collecting right now? Anything new? Anything old? But no, let's go with new. What are you collecting now? What are you getting into right now that you're reading?
Right now, pretty much anything by Ram V. He's probably my favorite writer. So Mini Desolayla Star, his Swamp Thing run. I'm really into those, and I'm really excited for the upcoming Radio Apocalypse. Anything by him, Dan Waters, The Picture of Everything Else.
Okay.
A fan of his work. The James Tynion stuff, Something is Killing the Children, Department of Truth.
Listen,
those are some of my favorites.
Right out. I love it.
Oh yeah, Vault Comics, Wasted Space. Michael Morisi just launched Barbaric. Two issues of that are out. Red Room, like you mentioned, blows me away. Ice Cream Man by W. Maxwell Prince. Haha just wrapped up. That was a great one. Those are some of my favorites, I would say overall. Stray Dogs. Oh my goodness, Stray Dogs. Stray Dogs was amazing. And they have the horror homage covers. So
I know. I just got the Thing one, and I'm waiting to get the. I still haven't got the Crow one yet. The Crow homage that they have, but the Thing one is the one I really want to bet. And I think
that's a good one.
The other one was 28 Days Later. I think they did an homage to that one too.
Yeah, those ones come out this week. Actually,
is that what it is?
I think. Yeah, this upcoming week.
Yep. So for the new collectors that are out there, and there's a few of them, and I've met quite a few of them that are in the community right now that are just starting out. I always say we collect expensive paper, okay, but we collect it for what reasons? Many people have their own reasons of why they collect or why they read a certain issue. And one of the biggest questions Comics with Bueller is on. I just want a big shout out to Bueller really quick. Brother, nice to see you. Ben Compton is in the house. Yo. How you doing? Yes, that's pretty much it. But for the new collectors out there that are collecting newer books, older books. My suggestion is to them, and I wanted to hear what your opinion is of it to help them decide. Some of these people are investors, like stockbrokers and stuff like that. And I've had this question brought up to my attention multiple times through Instagram. And I go, where do I start? How do I start? What do you see where I'm coming from that? What would you tell these people how to start, what to do, or what to like? Go ahead. You get where I'm coming from.
Yeah. If you are, okay, if you're coming into the industry trying to be like an investor, I would encourage you to not download the Key Collector app.
Yes.
I would encourage you to stay away from all of the chatter weekly. That causes people to overpay for books that depreciate in value very quickly. I would encourage you to invest in Silver Age key issues of like first appearances of big characters, major moments, deaths, things like that. Death of Gwen Stacy, first appearance of Punisher. Like they're expensive, but they're not as expensive as some others, you know. And if you are trying to be ahead of the curve right now, I don't advise it. But if you are trying to be ahead of the curve, go ahead and pick up any appearance of a Herald of Galactus that you can think of. Because I think Galactus is the next Thanos, right?
My favorite.
Yeah.
You said exactly what I've been saying. Look at that. And
that's for investors. Now, if you're just trying to get in to read, I would suggest that you find a really good comic shop or a really good YouTuber that can recommend comics, right? When someone asks me to recommend a comic, I ask them to list some of their favorite movies, right? And then I try to get them into something. If you're trying to get in, if there's a character that appeals to you, right? Just kind of do some research, find out what people are saying, what are the best ones, and read the books. Read the books and don't follow. Eventually, what I would say is don't follow characters as much as following creators, because you may love Swamp Thing by Rom V, right? And you can go back and you can read Alan Moore, and that's great. But if you spent your whole life just collecting Swamp Thing, you wouldn't be getting the breadth of everything. But if you really like Rom V Swamp Thing, try Mini Desolate Lestar. Try Radio Apocalypse when it comes out. Pick up Blue and Green. Pick up These Savage Shores. You will more likely like those books than you will every other Swamp Thing run, because there is love for character, but the creators, it's like following your favorite film director. You know, like you mentioned Ridley Scott. My favorites are Ridley Scott, Christopher Nolan, Martin Scorsese, Dario Argento, John Carpenter, George Romero. So like, I have always learned that like if they're doing it, it's worth checking out. And so like pay attention to who does the books, whether it's the writer, the artist, or even the damn letterer. Like you will have more joy reading comics when you figure out who's making the comics that you like, aside from just the company or the character, right? Right.
Excellent advice. You heard it right there from somebody who has experience. That's perfect answer right there. That was excellent, Robbie. Excellent. So I hope that helps all you new collectors out there and the ones that have been blasting my phone. I hope that helped. That total makes sense. And yeah, because what you're saying is right on par of exactly everything that's been going on. I always try to stay away from a lot of the what do they call it? The spec books, and they talk about the spec books all the time, and this specking and that, and 50% of them are wrong. When a show is out. Yeah, it's like, really? If you go that way, you're really gambling your money away. Okay, here's another one. And this is another one I get a question of a lot. Mystery boxes. Explain that to the new collectors that are out there. I know a lot in the chat will probably know what they are, but a lot of the new ones see this on the rewind. Tell them. It's gambling.
It's kind of gambling. This is what mystery boxes really are. Let's be honest about this. Mystery boxes are usually somebody trying to dump product that they couldn't sell if they listed it on its own, right? So don't be surprised when you get a majority of just like bulk type stuff. Mystery boxes were created by comic shops, mystery bags or whatnot. I used to buy them when I was a kid. You know, you go in there and they're like 10 comics for $5 or whatever. And you think, oh man, that's absolutely amazing. And then they're all just clunkers. They're things they can't get rid of. Right. So there you go. We're in this new era though, where there are a lot of say social media influencers or whatnot that are using mystery boxes to support their channel, right?
Sure.
We do a PCP mystery box here and there, and I always curate them so that they will have like first issues or first 2 issues of an indie series, and maybe like a familiar series, like a one and done or a self-contained story or something like that, and something for kids. I know that Comic Tom does a lot of cool ones because they do Tom does like the exclusives, you know, and a lot of people do that. Bueller does his mystery box, which is usually him selling comics, but I've never gotten a Bueller box, but I've heard that they're pretty solid. But my opinion of mystery boxes is, and I'm on the other side of the counter, and it's usually just, how are we going to get rid of these books? We over-ordered on that. What are we going to do? Bundle it.
Yep.
Yeah. But they can be cool. And then there is the gambling aspect where people do it, where they're like, you have a chance to get this big book. Right.
Do you believe kind of like, okay, let's say you buy a mystery box for $300. Do you think that I get this question as well. Do you think that the mystery book should be worth at least the money that you put into it? And if there's a bonus in there over $300, then it's okay.
I would say yes, but
ethically,
I would say that the value of whatever you pay for the box, the value should be more. Okay. I would say. And on the other side, I would say this: I would never pay $300 for a mystery box.
Thank you. It's amazing. I've seen a lot of mystery boxes like $500, $300.
Well, there are people out there with a lot more money than me. So
yeah, I know. Yeah, exactly.
If I had the money, I would be like, I would actually buy some vintage Motu figures, but then I know what I was getting. But yeah.
Exactly.
I don't like buying something that I don't know what I'm getting. I don't like that. And being a retailer myself and knowing other retailers and other people that are fantastic and some that are not so fantastic.
Yeah.
I'm always very skeptical and cynical when it comes to buying books. You know what I'm saying? So
of course. Absolutely. I do know what you're saying, because that's kind of the dilemma I'm in. I have been usually an old school collector, little 90s, but mostly going back to Silver Age, Golden Age books is what I've been buying, because I like them. I like the read. I like the art. You don't find that anymore. And as of recently,
that's ridiculous, Bueller.
Bueller. Yeah.
Is that how much the new Bueller box costs, bro?
Yeah.
Like, I'll give you a mystery box if you buy my van.
I was going to say, that's for his van. Long trip journey. I better see you, Bueller, when you go cross country. That's all I got to say. But okay. So as an example, so as of lately, probably the last, 6 months or roughly, I've been buying a lot of newer titles, and I'll be honest. I stick with some of my classics. I stick with some of the Marvel. I stick with some DC titles sprinkled in here and there. But when it comes to older DC, like Bronze, Silver Age, stuff like that, I like the horror stuff from DC. I do like some of the Batman stuff. But a lot of the new stuff that's coming out, if you look at it, 95% is the art that brings you in for the cover. And then once you start reading it, I get really disappointed, because I'm like, what is this pile of garbage that I'm reading? You know what I'm saying? And you invested $5, $9, even on the auctions, and a lot of people, have the same, what do I get? You see where I'm going with that?
Yeah. There's this weird trend going on, and
it's been disheartening for me.
Here's something that's really cool about,
and I'm not bitching.
Oh, I mean, it's fine if you are, but here's something that used to happen. I mean, this is so weird, because me and you, we grew up in an era where what the comic book cover presented was in the book.
Exactly.
It was the art, and it showed you the story, and it showed you like a little clip of like maybe what's going to happen. And like, It was very enticing.
Right.
Comic book art on covers today is more like collecting trading cards.
Oh my goodness.
In the 90s. Right. It's more like people are like, Oh, I got to get the Joe Jusko Marvel Masterpieces. Oh, I got to get that Mark Bagley Spider-Man set. Oh, I got to get that Jim Lee X-Men set, right? So like that's where that is now. And that's almost becoming its own market. Like there are people that just cover buy, and it's cool. And they buy covers that to me are just mostly, it's the same thing as buying trading cards. But when you're trying to market the interior of the book, I really think that it's a lost art of the comic book cover, of something that would appeal to you visually, give you a sense of what was in store in the issue, and not like people get this bait and switch type feel. If you're new to this industry and you pick up a book and say it's got a Alex Ross cover,
Yep.
right? Alex Ross Captain America, and they have a subpar artist on the book, you're going to be like, well, never mind. That it feels like a bait and switch. Some indie books, for instance, though, Homesick Pilots by Dan Waters is one of my favorites. That's an incredibly well-designed cover, right? Yep. That is instantly like picks up your eye line when you see it on the shelf. Brilliant, vibrant covers, a bold logo right there, and just great composition. And then when you open up the book, guess what? It's the same artist. It's the same coloring. It's the same composition. It's the same vibe. And this is a fantastic book. And it's got like a great design all the way through. You're seeing this more on the indies, less on the big two. What they seem to do is they have learned that they can get a higher profile artist, pay them a little bit more just to churn out a cover, and charge you $1 more for it, especially even if it's card stock, right? So the cover buying and the I saw Bueller's comment there. The cover buying and trying to get into the story, that's two different things. So variant covers are cool, but even the regular covers don't do it so much nowadays on some of the other, like the big two books. So yeah. Sure. Does that make sense?
Yes, it does. I'm pulling something out I want to show you. Just it's on the conversation that we're talking about.
Yeah.
Hold on. Here we go. Okay. Sorry about that. Boom. There we go. So as an example, what we're talking about, now, like cover buys is an example. This was strictly cover buy. Loved
nice.
It.
Okay. Yeah.
Yeah. Love that. Another example, and this was actually good. Vinyl. I enjoyed that. You guys haven't checked that out? Definitely a good read. Cover buy. Hey, enough. Sorry, my puppers is losing his mind at the door. Can you talk for a moment? I'll be right back.
Yeah. Bueller says, Robert is way older than you, Robbie. He grew up in wagons and outhouses. I know that was one of the questions I asked him backstage. I was like, how old are you? If you don't mind me asking, I just want to place you in the comic book generation. He's older than both of us, Bueller. Like, you know, everybody's making old man jokes about Bueller, but come on, man, what's going on here? It is incredibly late here in my zip code. It's after 1 a.m. I've only been live one other time at this time, and it was for the Robbie, say something cool. It was for the New Year's Eve celebration that we did. We went 6 hours that night. Wow, that was crazy. Why did we do that? But you know, why not, right? But here it is. It's time for first. This is Rockin' Robbie First. You know, it's a milestone. Robbie's first non-New Year's Eve show streaming at 1 a.m. So it's weird that Robert does this show so late. I agreed to it, and I was like, what time is it? And he's like, midnight. I was like, what? Yeah, 1 a.m. I'm in Huntsville too. Him and Bob are the oldest people I know. You're muted again, man. You got fooled by the mute button again.
Yeah, again. Sorry, my dog. He had to go outside. I had to take him outside.
That's fine.
That's funny. Oh, what is this? Yeah, it is late. Sorry, guys. Boom. I've been doing this for almost 2 years now at this time. So getting back to this. So a little bit of nudity is going to pop up. So hope you're ready. So I got this nice bondage cover. So I liked old bondage cover, even the new. So this is a new one. The story,
What is that? Is that Essentia?
Yep, Essentia.
Okay.
And there's the nudity version. There's a virgin cover of it.
Oh,
better show that one.
spicy.
Yeah, it is very spicy. And then, bam, there we go. And then this is cool, Robbie. I picked these up. I did not know these were art books. This is cool. So you know I like my H.P. Lovecraft. But I got all of the covers, bought all the covers as an example. I was kind of disappointed because there was no story in here, but I'm going to show you the inside of this. So this is called Nightmare of Providence. This just came out. Okay, there's one cover. Here's another cover. And I'm going to show you the inside of this book because it's pretty cool. Here's the back side of it. Now, when you open it, what this is, I haven't read this part of it yet. Yes, I got no gloves on, so Monty's going to scream at me.
Huh.
But it's got the art. Each one of this is an art. It's an art book. Look at this.
Oh yeah.
Art in this is awesome. Look at Cthulhu there. I'm happy with this. I paid $7 a book, but I'm happy with it. It's mostly art, but it's cool. Look at that.
Yeah, those look cool.
Yeah, really, really neat. Yeah, these just came in the mail the other day, but fantastic stuff. I wish there was story here. The art is great. I'm looking at a picture book, but doesn't that look like, does that not you of, not Reanimator. Yeah. What was it called? The one with the pituitary gland.
Oh, From Beyond.
From Beyond. That's what that reminds me of.
Wasn't Providence like a book that they did? So is this just like an art book from like covers or something?
Yeah, I
think it's just black and white covers from that book. It's Avatar, right?
Yeah.
Yeah. Okay. I think that's what that is. I think Providence is an actual book that they did.
But look at this. Then they got the sketches in here.
Nice.
Just awesome stuff. The whole book is like that. I'm like, I can't wait to go through it. I haven't gone through the entire thing, but it was really cool. So more cover buys and not disappointed. This one was God Killer. I liked that. The one that made me laugh, and it's only 3-part stories, was Mango Bunny Man. Have you read it?
No.
It's funny, dude. I think you'll like it. It's hilarious. It really is. I got both of the covers of.
I have a feeling I know your pull list.
Check this out. This is great. It
Okay.
is so good. Look at this cover. And this is great, you guys. It's hilarious. It's a little gory there, but
nice.
Yep. And then haven't read this one yet. This is a new one. H.P. Lovecraft, The Alchemist. Can't wait to read it. And the one I've been happy with DC, Nice House on the Lake. Enjoyed it.
Yeah.
And did you see this? This came out like a couple months ago, maybe a month or so ago. I enjoyed this by Marvel.
Oh, that was fantastic. That's by my buddy Alex Packnadell.
He's
such a fantastic
Somebody
writer. Yeah.
that's read it. Yes.
Oh,
I loved
yeah.
it.
And Juan Ferreira's artwork, beautiful.
Yeah. Inside, in the beginning, this is what I like. Stuff like this. So it's like, man. Yeah, on the same wavelength. You know what I'm talking about. Yes, I do. I do, Bueller. I do like art, but I like to read too, read a good story. But
I like art too, man. I bought some nudie covers this week. You know, Vault's apparently decided that they're going to be the nudie cover company now, and they've done a couple of them. And I got one for.
I know Betty Page had the black covers this last couple of times. They're like $10 a book. Betty Page got them all blacked out now, where she's got the whole naked cover, I guess, going on the old style.
Yeah.
Which one did you get?
Well, Vault has the like they've been doing these black bag ones, like the of Barbaric, Money Shot, and the new one, Last Book You'll Ever Read. And so they do that.
I just ordered that as well. Was that good?
The Last Book You'll Ever Read?
Yes.
Yeah, the first issue is pretty solid.
Is it?
Yeah, it's pretty solid. It's nothing to like
bag that what is it, the blind bag, I think, too, as well.
Yeah, there's a blacked out cover of that one, and there's you're gonna get like one of two covers apparently, and one of them's pretty raunchy.
Is it?
I mean, I think they're both pretty raunchy. You know? I mean, the one I got is a demon going down on a chick. Like that's what it is.
It's like that.
It's literally that. Like it's literally that.
Well, it doesn't explain that when you read the description.
Nothing in the book makes that make sense, but that's the cover. So whatever. Okay. Sure.
Underground. There it is again.
Yeah, let's do it.
This is funny. That's making me laugh. What I liked in the first story of this was hilarious. The woman is going to take over the bunny. He's like a half-breed bunny rabbit, and he's got superpowers, and she's kind of like trying to seduce him, and he didn't even last more than a second, and she got all pissed off and then ties them all up. It's interesting. It gets good. It's a funny book. Trust me. It's funny.
I believe you.
What is it? I'm in trouble. Oh, did you buy it, Hawk? Firehawk. That's funny. I know Firehawk. His wife will throw a fit if he has anything with a bikini on it.
Stay away from comics.
Yes, exactly. So let's go. I know it's late for you, brother, and I really appreciate your time. Let's go with my two questions I usually ask at the end of the show. We're on an hour and 18 minutes. I don't want to take too much of your time up.
All right, you're fine, man.
Here we go. Good. Here we go. Let's go with the big question. Do you have any inspirational thoughts or ideas for the community as a whole?
Focus on what you like more than what you don't like. Do not define your life by what you are not. Define it by what you are. Act, don't tell, and show, don't preach, right? And always remember that there are more than two sides to every argument. There's probably like 52 if we're in a DC multiverse, to be particular. But I mean, that's it. Focus on what you like. Focus on who you are, not what you're against. Because when you're against, you can turn into this us versus them stuff. And one of the best things about the comic book community is that we all have a shared passion. Yep. And we still wind up in these loops sometimes of battles and arguments and this and that, these people versus this people. And it's so stupid. Focus on what you love. Don't be an asshole. Like
I love it. It's called, I call them clicks. There's these clicks. And here's what I have to admit. I have to say, Robbie, I want to say thank you so much for being on the Nudie Collective, because this means something to me, like big time. I just going to say you're like a superstar in my eyes on YouTube. I've enjoyed everything you've done. I've watched everything. So Stations, I'm going to use that. Yeah, exactly. Robbie's all the way 100%.
When you do the station, one on your chest, one out like that. Station. There we go. Got it.
Okay. And you've been a big inspiration and had me look at things in a different light from your reviews. And not all your reviews have been the greatest. And that's because it's your opinion. That's how you see it.
Wait, so the review's not good?
Not all of them. I said not. I'm being honest with you.
I'm just messing with you, man.
No, it's because I probably didn't like the book, and you liked the book.
Yeah.
I didn't care for it. Everybody's got their opinion.
It's subjective.
I've enjoyed that. And that's another thing when it comes to like Jennifer, for an example, from Comics Will Break Your Heart.
Yeah.
I watch her on Sundays when I get the chance live. She always does a review, and she does her book reviews and stuff like that. Both of the ladies have got their different persona on it. And I've enjoyed her show as well, because you kind of you get into the depth of it, of why. And when you do a review, even when it's on a particular book you may like or didn't like, you tell why, and you really give an explanation of this is your opinion. That I love that. I'm sorry. I just love it. I love it when you're on the horror show with Dylan. That's a great show. I've been watching that now for a good year. He's been doing it for over a year now. And big shout out to Dylan. Yes, sir. The horror genre is excellent. And it's the same thing with Bueller. Bueller does the same thing. When he does his coffee morning show on Mondays, it's excellent. He does the same thing. And he gives his opinion. And this is what people get all like bent out of shape when they express themselves in their particular way or their particular art. So, dude, I appreciate it big time.
Oh, I appreciate you having me on. This has been
and this is one thing I got to say. You're touchable. You're not untouchable. Some people get a big head when they get way up there and they just don't socialize with other people. And I just want to say, I really appreciate this. I know it's late for you. I know it's at midnight. That's what I've been doing my show on. So thank you.
I love it. I was just weird stretching about it earlier. But yeah, this is only the second time I've been live this late. So hell yeah, man. I'm down. I looked, I was like, who is this? I'm like, what am I getting into? I looked and I was like, okay, I'm in good company here. You've had a lot of my friends on this show. So.
Yes, exactly. All those people that I've had on the show have been excellent. And I love it. This has been a big hobby for me, and my queen G, she's always been supportive. It had my back. And when I started doing this whole adventure, Bueller was the first person I used to watch in the very beginning, and he inspired a lot. And this has been great. Like our everyday humdrum lives of working and this, I'm talking about the work you don't like to do.
Yeah.
Okay. And getting into doing something like this as a passion, and comic books, reading and sharing it with somebody else makes excellent therapy for anybody.
Yes,
you know what I'm saying? It's like you get to vent, you get to share it with people. And I love that. Yeah, I'm sorry. I can go off and off like crazy. So let's get to the next question. Sorry about that.
Oh, you're fine. Have you ever seen my show?
Yeah.
I'm doing a 4-hour stream tomorrow night. Don't worry about it.
Wow. 4 hours? Really?
Yeah, man. Why not?
Oh, heck, why not?
My girlfriend's out of town for a couple weeks. So what else am I going to do?
Cool. Okay. Next question. Next question is where is it? Well, I missed it. Sorry. There we go. What does thinking outside the box mean to you?
Okay. So if you have, let's just say, if you have a box and you're inside of it and you're thinking, and then you jump out of it and you think again, that's thinking outside the box. But I'm being like, that's just a joke. But for real, this is what it means. Put yourself in another person's shoes, right? Put yourself in a different position. Put yourself in another perspective, another paradigm. So many of us, we grow up and we kind of feel like in our early 20s, we know who we are and who we will always be. And there's a core of truth to that, but there's also not, right?
Right.
And one of the things that I feel so many people don't really appreciate or pay attention to is the idea that we hold on to these ideas for no other reason than we feel like they identify us as us. But that's not always true. I grew up not a McFarlane fan, not a Spawn fan at all.
Right.
And then one day I was like, I'm tired of hating Spawn. It's exhausting to hate Spawn. I want to enjoy Spawn. And I decided I was going to start reading Spawn as a fan overnight like that. And this is something I'll do with random things in my life. Say, oh, I hate ketchup. Well, okay, that's going too far. I hate ketchup. I would never like ketchup. But let's just say like the Spawn thing, right? I hated Spawn. Overnight, I'm going to be a Spawn fan. What that does is it allows you to become a bigger person. You're expanding yourself, your experience. So many people, I feel it's a tragedy. They get locked in to who they think they are, what they think they should do, and they never try to go beyond that. They never try to step outside of their comfort zone.
Right.
It's you stepped outside of your comfort. You were talking about you were nervous to meet to chat with me. I get nervous. Like when I had Ron B on my channel, I was giddy and nervous as hell, right?
Yeah.
But we do it. We do those things that make us uncomfortable because that's the human experience. That's where we grow. And it's only by putting yourself, expanding yourself. We need to always be growing. And one of the ways to do that is to always take on another perspective or to put yourself in someone else's shoes and do that repeatedly all the damn time. Bueller, I bet you're squishable too, bro. But yeah, it's about expansion of the self, right? So
Awesome.
And yeah, that's what thinking outside the box is.
Beautifully done. Beautifully done, Robbie. Beautifully. Love it. It's amazing. I've kept those 2 questions for 2 years and asked the same questions to my guest, and everybody has a different response to it. And that's what I love about those questions. And people are like, why do you ask the same question at the end of your show? I go, because that's a perfect example. What you did right there was fantastic. Loved it.
Station. Thank you.
Yeah. Okay. So it's like this and stations.
It can go either way.
Oh, that's right.
You've seen Bill and Ted, right? It's the
of course.
they do. Is it,
Of course.
hey,
I'm gonna watch it.
69 dudes.
69, dude. I love it. I love it. Where is it? Robbie always throws it down. Yes, he does. Yes, he does. What was that? What was that? Okay, real quick. I got a couple things. I got to shout out a couple things really quick here. And that is, okay. Everybody out there, do me a favor right now. Kyle Waaka is in the house. Big shout out to Kyle. Buddy, thank you for being here. He's from New Zealand. And I want you to do me a favor. He's got a link. There's a link in the description down below, along with Robbie's on the top of the last few shows that he's done. Go check out Robbie's show. Go sub him up. Go check him out. And go check out my buddy Kyle Waaka. He's got a Grail book that just came in. I'm not going to tell you what it is. I want you to go and check it out. Go sub him up. He's trying to get his goal of 1,000 subscribers. Let's give him 1,000 subscribers. He's 50 away. Let's get him out there. And please go check out my brother down there on the bottom. And everybody else down the links down in the description down below. We got something to ponder. I want you to go check out Chris Large. Just go check him out and give him a little love. And tell him the G-Man sent you. And real quick for my buddy, John Hoffman, I got to plug him really for 2 seconds. All the comic books I shown tonight and the comic books that he's basically my LCS and he's from West Virginia. So he's one connection. So there he is. And I said West Virginia, North Carolina.
Way different.
Way different. North Carolina. Sorry, John. But do you have any questions for me, Robbie?
Yeah, I do actually. Have you ever had a supernatural or paranormal experience? You ever seen a ghost? You ever had some kind of crazy vision? You ever seen an alien or UFO or anything like that?
You're being honest?
Yeah.
Yes.
What?
Once, my unidentified, let's get this right, UFO stands for unidentified flying object. I'll never forget it. And then one was a joke my dad pulled on me. I'll tell you that in a second. But the first one I was playing soccer in the street with my buddies in Richfield, Minnesota. And it was a real black night. We didn't have a lot of street lights. And the sun just went down, got real dark, and we're all outside. And all of a sudden, this light, it was like a spotlight, showed up out of nowhere. And it started going across the sky and it stopped. We thought it was a helicopter at first with a spotlight. Got out there. We were so excited. We're like, oh, aliens. Get out there with our telescopes. We're looking up at it. This thing moved in really sporadic directions.
Yeah.
And it was white and had a black dot in the middle of it. It was super bright. You could barely look at it. And all we could see was a black dot. And then all of a sudden, within seconds, we seen it go, boom, across the sky. It disappeared. That was it.
Wow.
Second time, I was fishing down at the Minnesota River bottom in the Minnesota River with my father. Sun went down. We were catfishing and nothing was biting. Walk up the side of the hill, get into his car, and we look to the left, and it's like through the woods, and there's this open field, and all of a sudden it looked like a roulette wheel, like this, going, and it went up in the air. And I'm like, Dad, a UFO. And my dad gets in the car and he goes, yeah. We go running. He like speeds up the car really quick, and all of a sudden he stops the car and turns it off, and the lights went out. I go, Dad, what happened? The power just died. He was messing with me, joking around with me. I'm like, well, I was thinking, because I think we just watched Close Encounters of the Third Kind.
Yeah.
So I had aliens and spacecraft on the brain. Got it back in the car. He goes, I'm just kidding, son. And he goes, let's go chase it down. So we went down the freeway, down 35W, 90 miles an hour, checking this thing out. It was an airplane with advertising going across the bottom of it.
Wow.
But I swear, when it took off, it looked like a UFO spinning as it went up in the air. Did not look like an airplane flying straight up in the air. Different point of view, different side of view, you know?
Yeah.
But yeah.
That's
And
awesome.
then paranormal experience. I was at a seance. Scared the living crap out of me. This lady, she was great. Awesome woman. And it wasn't a trick. I know it wasn't a trick because she didn't have any special effects. It was in a solid room, solid table, and she lit a candle. And she started doing this seance, and there was 5 of us around this table. And she lit a candle, and she was asking for the spirit to come into the room. And the room got super, literally, it scared me so much, ice cold. Like it was like your air conditioning or your refrigerator, freezer, when you open it up and the mist comes out. That's exactly how it felt in the room.
Yeah.
She asked a particular question about, you heard this, like, it sounded like a whisper. And right away I was thinking, this is bullshit. I'm thinking like she's got speakers hooked up somewhere and this is not happening. And you heard something, but you couldn't make out what it was. And it sounded like somebody was whispering something. And then all of a sudden the candle shot about 5 feet in the air. It like,
oh shit.
Like gas would hit a candle. It was like if you shot a candle with an aerosol can and it went boom, that candle went shoomp and half the candle disappeared.
Shit.
I was out of there.
Yeah. You're fucking asses and elbows, bro. You're just like gone.
Around. I said, I'm done. Done. We don't need to piss off any spirits. I'm out of here. I left. Never went back. So
I feel that.
Those are my 3 stories. How about you?
Yeah, I've seen a light in the sky with my homie one time, and nothing as dramatic as what you said. And I've had other experiences that usually deal with more meditative kind of techniques and whatnot.
Sure.
But I did have, me and my homie, we saw this really bright light in the sky. It was kind of like the equivalent, like if you go up and if you can look for it when it's out and you see Jupiter, how bright Jupiter is, right? Sure. It was like that, but it wasn't Jupiter. We were looking out west and Jupiter was not there. It was more it was still rising, right?
On the other different horizon. Yep.
Yeah. And so like we see it and it's just like going like this.
Yep.
And then it's gone.
Disappeared.
Yeah. And we're like, oh, was that like a plane or something? And it went behind a cloud, but like there were no clouds. Where there were some, but you could see them over there, but there were no clouds where we were. And then all of a sudden it comes back.
Interesting.
And we're like, it's back again. And it just goes again.
Interesting.
Who knows what it was?
Unidentified flying object. We can't see. That's the thing about this whole UFO experience where people get very misconstrued. It's unidentified. How can you call it an alien if you don't know what it is? How can you say that it's a extraterrestrial being when you don't know? Yeah. And why is it still to this day, even with modern technology, have we not seen something crystal clear? It's still blurry. It's still a bit, there's been a couple, but still speculative.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? But yeah, that's a whole other ball of wax. I love it. I think it's great. It's always that one thing I always think about, like you were just saying, that question. You're asking the question. What is it real? Is there something else? And I always tend to believe, yes, there is something else. It's hard to think that we are the only ones in this universe. And I know I sent out a little link to my buddies. And I think I sent it out to you by Carl Sagan. Mm-hmm. And one of the fascinating astronomers and geniuses, I mean, just the guy had a friggin' brain like, who was the guy in the wheelchair that just passed away? Stephen Hawking. Thank you.
Yeah, I'm a huge Carl Sagan fan.
Me too.
I used to do hip hop, and my stage name was Contact, and that's a direct reference. I named myself Contact because of Carl Sagan.
So then you like Neil deGrasse Tyson as well?
Yeah, not as much as Carl Sagan. Carl Sagan was the pothead, so he's a lot.
Well, yeah, but did you know that? Neil deGrasse Tyson was his pupil.
That makes sense, and he's
Carl
the one that
Sagan's pupil.
he's carrying on the
He
legacy of
learned under him.
Cosmos. So.
Yes, he learned under him. Yeah.
Yeah,
it's
I mean, I like
interesting.
Neil deGrasse Tyson. He's just not
I
as
know.
cool to me.
I know
That's
what you mean. But one of the coolest things that I ever remember when I was a kid was when they did, and even recent, they did a remake or 30 years later on Netflix, they did a thing on the Voyager program.
Yeah.
The Voyager is just leaving our solar system. It's going to where it's nothing has gone before. Okay. With the golden record and all that. I love stuff like that. And what's cool about that is Carl Sagan back then, I think as the Saturn or the Voyager was passing Saturn, as it's going past the rings and it's taking photos of the rings and taking the best photos they ever gotten back then without, the telescope.
Yeah.
Carl Sagan had asked NASA to turn Voyager.
You're talking about the pale blue dot.
Exactly.
Yeah. Uh-huh.
Loved that.
And he wrote a whole book about it.
Yes.
Yeah.
See, I love it.
Yeah. I'm a huge fan. I'm a Carl Sagan guy. I got the Cosmos on DVD.
Yes.
I've got the books. That's my jam.
You know where I'm coming from.
Yeah.
Yeah. So people like, what? They don't get it. And it's like, what? What is there not to get?
But it's so beautiful because he's like, all that we've ever been, all that ever was, every piece of music, every piece of art, every love, every life, every loss, every tragedy, every triumph is in that one tiny speck of light. And it's so
That's
crazy,
you,
right?
That's you, Bueller.
Hey, I have one of those too. It's painful. It's painful.
Oh my goodness. No, he's giving me shit about actually because I like the Hellraiser 1 and 2, 3. That's it. And I like Douglas Bradley. They played Pinhead. I actually have a animatronic of Pinhead where he actually talks. I set it up for Halloween. Yeah.
Dude, I got the whole Doug Bradley. Super cool guy. I love Hellraiser.
Ah, man. I love to talk. I love to pick that guy's brain. I got to pick Neil. I got to pick what was it? The Star Trek fan, Leonard Nimoy.
Nice.
Pick his brain for like 25 minutes and have a drink with him. That was awesome. That was 25 years ago. But okay, we're going on in a ramble. Yeah, right. Sorry, we could talk for a long time, I think. So anything you got going on, buddy? Please tell the community about what you're doing. Everything. Go ahead.
Well, join us over at Pop Culture Philosophers. My next show will be tomorrow night at 7 p.m. Central Time. That's Rock and Robbie Live. We do that pretty much every Saturday or every Sunday night. I'll be giving you a DC Comics sneak peek, lots of other fun little bits, movie reviews, things like that. I'll be talking about the Snake Eyes movie. It's going to be a great, fun show. Weekly comic book reviews on Tuesday night, late Tuesday nights. Every Saturday or Friday or Saturday morning, I do a show with Jim Mint Collectibles where we reveal our top 10 books of the week. I do the Dylan's Horror Show on Saturday nights. We do PCP Movie Night on Friday nights on my channel where we have a movie of the week. And you can find me also on the new Coffee and Comic Show on Comics with Bueller, where we pick the pick. So
awesome.
Station.
Station. I love it. Okay. Where was it? The last two, what was it? Bam. Yeah. Do you know, Bueller? I'm going to get back onto this. Do you know, Bueller? I got he gave me crap about a poster. I still haven't hung it up, Bueller. And no, it's not going on my ceiling. But this was a big shout out to Bueller. I made a little homage poster thing for him and he gave me shit about it. He said, "Oh, you're going to put that on your wall in your bedroom?" I go, "No." So I still haven't hung it up. But it's his books and his art, from over the years and his most recent ones. So big shout out to Bueller.
It's a little creepy. A little creepy.
Still not hung up yet. Yeah, exactly. See? That's what he said too. But it's all of his stuff that he's done. It's accomplishments. Come on.
That's dope. That's really cool.
So Robbie, I want to say thank you. Stick around if you can for a second. I'd like to talk to you off air. Cool. And I am trying to get the ticker to stop. Why is it not stopping? Come on. Come on. Really? Wow. I can't get it to stop. Okay, got it to
There you
stop
go.
finally. Sorry. And we are boom. All right. Thank you, Robbie. Stations. Yes, sir. And thank you, community. Stations, Rock and Robbie. You were fantastic. You're welcome to come on the show anytime. I'd like to get you on with a crew, which would be fantastic. And you, comic book community, I want to say thank you so much for being here. Your support means the world to me, big time, and the crew. A big thank you to all my co-hosts. Wish my other co-hosts were here tonight. Sorry, Monty, your power must have went out. It's okay, buddy. I get it. And Robbie, thank you. So peace, love, blessed be you guys. And we'll see you next Saturday. We got another special guest. We got the bearded comic bro next Saturday. So be there. We'll see you at midnight. Good night, everybody.